Today, September 5th, 2007, the iPod Touch first generation was released to the public. It was the first iPod with the touchscreen design, and it was one of the first iPods to have Wi-Fi. So, today we're going to look at it 17 years later, and also compare it to the slightly newer iPod Touch third generation. So, let's just get straight into it. So, when this thing released, it came on iOS 1. This is iOS 1.1.5, which is a more newer version. The only difference that this iOS has over the first generation this shipped with was there was no notes and there was no weather and stock app. And I don't think there was a maps or mail. There was a lot less apps, but this update came pretty soon. So to get started, there's no pages. However, when you move apps, you can get pages. And they are very slow compared to the animations on the iPod Touch third generation, which just feels a lot more smoother. But this is iOS 5, which differs from iOS 1, which feels a lot older because there was no wallpapers in the background, which just makes it a little bit more simple, I should say. The lock screens were the same. Double press to show your music and just the basic slide to unlock. But the main difference between these two is the fact that this iPod could only be operated with headphones due to the fact that it has no speaker. If I put it a little closer to the phone here, you'll be able to hear a click when I unlock it. And same when I power off. Unlock. Power off. This is because Apple they wanted to make it as simple as possible due to the fact that they wanted to make it more budget for people who couldn't afford an iPhone. You could hear the sounds just through this little beeper here as I play an alarm. It's basically a beeper or like a vibration system that makes sounds, which is actually pretty cool. The iTunes logo did evolve from iOS 1, iOS 5, as you can see here, with it showing music and then it just showing an arrow. It doesn't work anymore due to the fact that this iPod is so old. Another cool feature with the iPod Touch and iPhone in the music application is something called cover flow. You rotate the iPod 90 degrees in order to view all of your music and their cover art, which is rather cool. There's also photo album, and I believe there's no way to take a screenshot on this iPod on this version, but I'm not going to restore it to the latest version, which is iOS 3.1.3, due to the fact that it'll delete all the music. There's the Notes app, which there's a certain clicking sound, which I will demonstrate here in a second. When you type, it sounds like this. So it's basically like a little clicking sound, which differs from the iPod Touch third gen, which has a speaker in it, which is it's a lot quieter than most of the iPhone speakers, but it's there. You can hear it, although rather quiet. And these speakers tended to start to sound distorted over time, which is unfortunate. The contact application is the same, so is the mail application on both of these. There's not really a major difference minus the fact that there were more features added later on, such as Nike plus iPod, the voice memos when you put a microphone, and the calculator, more importantly, changed design. You notice how it's more basic on the iPod Touch first gen, when you can rotate it on the third gen and you could get a lot more to your calculator. And the last thing to note is this is one of the first iPods to have Bluetooth. The second generation also had Bluetooth. This one didn't support it, so you need wired headphones to use it. iMessage came in later and then the Maps application also came in on this version of iOS. And the Maps doesn't work anymore, but it works on this one. I'm not going to open it, but it works pretty good. So, I guess that's it, guys. I hope you guys found this interesting. I think it's kind of cool that these are pieces of history now. So, Make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.